Welcome to the Awful Takes podcast special movie review episode.
Today we're getting Stuckmannized, guys.
Stuckmannized. We are here. There's a movie that I had been anticipating. I think it was on my top most anticipated movies of the year. It is a film called Shelby Oaks that recently debuted worldwide. Debuted at a few festivals recently, or in the past couple of years. This is a movie that is by a YouTuber reviewer who kind of is a reason why I talk about movies now on a show.
He's definitely like one of my biggest influences for sure. Yeah. He's definitely the reason I got into anime, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's definitely one thing I've never mentioned, but he was actually the reason I know about Satoshi Kon.
Quickly talking about him, he just can convey his points and his love of movies so well with the way he talks, and in such a short format. For me, I have to talk about it in hours just to get across the simplest points, but this guy does it in 5-10 minute movie reviews, and I'm just like, I don't know how he does that.
It's crazy. Yeah, it is genuinely insane how he does it. But
yeah, so he crowdfunded this horror film, and it got the biggest crowdfunding, I guess, ever for a horror movie.
For Kickstarter, yeah. It was like $1.3 million, which it's still genuinely mind-blowing.
It's
Granted,
insane.
He has 2 million subscribers, so obviously he has that help too.
Yeah. And so I'd just been anticipating how this movie was going to go. So last week I sat down to watch it. Theater wasn't entirely packed or anything.
Yeah, same. Mine wasn't either, and I saw it on Halloween night, actually.
Yeah. And definitely after the movie ended, I walked away really enjoying it. I don't think this is perfect. There's a lot of missteppings with this movie.
Yeah, for sure.
But as far as first-time efforts go,
a feature, I do think it's pretty solid, honestly.
I think it does the things it does pretty well.
Yeah.
Granted, there are definitely some areas that I personally wouldn't think I would do, and there's some dialogue in here that I don't personally think is that great. However, man, you can just get across the appreciation this guy has for horror throughout this whole movie. And especially, I love the blending of all these different genres. That's so ambitious to do that in a first-time movie that I just applaud him so much for doing it. Like,
he blends a lot of different mediums too. Like I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're going to just do like a horror mockumentary thing. And then it's like, you get the intro sequence. I'm like, oh, okay. It's not that.
Yeah. And then it jumps into like this traditional missing person story. Then it adds like supernatural elements. Then it adds this whole family dynamic.
There's like a cult thing at a certain point too.
So I really do applaud him for a first time effort. You really went all in, you know? That was one thing that I wanted to definitely feel the most with this movie, especially because it's crowdfunded. I didn't want it to feel too safe, you know? And to have the first 20 minutes be this mockumentary, found footage type movie, I'm like, that's kind of a big risk.
It's kind of ballsy.
A big swing, you know? And then not only that, you transition into this missing person story and then the supernatural stuff. I'm like, I haven't seen this blending of stuff in a horror movie, at least this much of it. I'm just honestly kind of shocked.
It kind of gives it this unique kind of style and flair to it for sure that I wasn't expecting at all. But I guess I will say I do kind of wish it was a little bit more consistent throughout, just because I do really connect with that found footage mockumentary stuff a little bit more than kind of just like the standard movie type of thing personally.
For me, it didn't feel too jarring. I know some people say they have a big problem with it and it felt all over the place and these things don't work together well, but I think for me with the mockumentary stuff, it set up the missing person aspect so well that when you get connected with this girl Mia, I immediately was just on board. I'm like, okay, that really set up her sister missing so well that I kind of feel for a lot of these motivations behind this main character.
Yeah.
The actress does such a great job in this
I was going to
movie.
say, she was easily my favorite performance in the whole
She
film.
is the absolute standout. She carries this movie so well. She has so many great moments. Even some of the moments that I don't necessarily think work that well, she still does such a great job in this.
Yeah. Especially compared to like the husband character, because I'll be honest, I really did not like him at all.
That guy's performance was horrible.
Well, not only that, but I just felt like he didn't really do much in the film. And I guess you could maybe argue like that's the point. Like,
he's a boyfriend, right? Or is it a husband?
A husband, because they were, I guess like one of the things they teased is that they were going to have a baby together, but it just didn't end up working out. And, you know, you kind of see their marriage is kind of like falling apart. Yeah. And I guess, I don't know. I was just kind of like, it felt a little too much because I was like, I was already invested into like, you know, the investigation with like her sister and everything. And I'm like, that should just be the main focus. And obviously they don't focus on it too much, but I was just like, I felt like you could have just cut it out. And I don't think it would have really changed all that much for me personally.
That is one of the, out of everything that doesn't work for me in this movie, one of the aspects that I just wish worked a little better is the sister aspect. I feel like at no point in this movie, even when they're, spoiler, reunited, I didn't really feel that these two were siblings. I think that was something that was missing. They do some callback footage of them as little kids or whatever, but
and I liked that, but I definitely I kind of wish they just expanded it a lot more, and I was hoping that's what the middle portion of the film was going to do. And I was just kind of surprised they didn't really do it, and it was just like, oh, we're kind of more focusing on the investigation. Where I felt like you could have blended both really, really well, honestly. Anyways,
that was one of the aspects that for me just I didn't buy into. I buy into it before she finds her. But once they meet and they reconnect, I'm just like, these actresses aren't really melding the performance.
The chemistry isn't really working too much. And I guess maybe you could, I guess how I kind of took it was maybe like, oh, because she's been like isolated for so long, like she probably doesn't have much experience and all that. Like she's kind of trying to like get back to like regular life. I guess maybe that's how I took it, but I definitely think they could have showcased it a little bit better.
The driving force behind it with Mia and everything, I don't know, I bought into. So I was just kind of on board for most of the movie. I didn't really find myself getting too caught up on the small stuff that I know some people had a big issue with. For instance, there are some jump scares in this movie. Honestly, there are jump scares in pretty much every horror movie. So
I don't know. I thought they were pretty effective personally. Like, I will say like the buildup of the prison sequence I thought was really cool. And I loved the kind of scare of it. I guess my only complaint though with it was that I just wish it was a little longer, and I wish there was more of an obstacle for her to get out of that prison, because it just felt like kind of too convenient. I was like, oh, she got out of that like way too quickly.
There is a jump scare that freaked me out, and it wasn't traditional by any means. And that, I will say, I think that's what shows Chris has such a great shot at directing, especially in this movie. He builds up to his scares really well.
Yeah,
and that's something
there's a lot of great tension and dread.
I think people don't. I don't know. I see the criticism with him online of doing jump scares and things like that, but he has a good build up and payoff to them. So one of the ones that I'm talking about is Mia's watching this footage that was taken from this guy and everything, and it basically builds up to this scare of something watching her in the reflection of the TV.
That
it is such a quick shot.
Yeah, so hard. Like, that was probably my favorite. Yeah, that was easily for me like one of my favorite scares in the film. I was like, what was that?
And there was no sound effect, nothing. It was just a very quick, like 2-second shot of this reflection of something watching her,
or even just like the sound of like the window like cracking throughout the film. Like that was that really got to me, honestly.
Me too. Yeah, Chris does such a good build up to a lot of the scares in these movies that I don't think people are really appreciating that much, because typically in horror with jump scares and things like that, there's no real buildup, or it's a buildup to a fake scare, which I didn't really see in this movie.
I hate that so much, and I'm glad they didn't do that at all.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think for me, again, if you match that buildup really well with the good payoff, it really shows me your talent as like a director and what you find scary. So
Yeah,
I
definitely.
applaud him for that. I think that for me was the best part, is seeing the payoffs and everything, seeing how you're building up to these scares. How are you gonna, follow them through? There are some weaker aspects to this movie. Obviously, I applaud him for it, doing the CGI and everything, but it
It's a
didn't
little
look
distracting.
great.
Are you talking about like with the dogs, or like the monster?
And with the monster.
Yeah.
Towards the end, that final part where the dogs run up, that looked pretty good.
Yeah, that one looked cool. I couldn't tell if it was like, it was distracting. It was like, wait, is it real or is it like a CG dog?
It was a little too jarring.
It took me out a little bit, unfortunately.
It did take me out. And then one of my least favorite parts, but it's quick, so I kind of just like, whatever. This lady, they set up this old lady in a really good way. When they first introduced this old lady at this cabin, she's like shown as like this shadow standing in like a doorway. And that that was starting to freak me out a lot.
It's very
I was like,
eerie. Yeah.
And you just hear this voice, really scary. But then they build up to this scare with her, or not scare, but just this reveal. She has like these like force powers or whatever.
Yeah, it just felt kind of obvious. It was a little predictable for me personally. And I was like, I felt like you could have, like, I've seen the old lady trope many times. I'm like, I felt like you could have been a little bit more creative with it.
It was just strange. I was just like, I wouldn't have done that.
It just felt a little out of place, especially when they started revealing a little bit of the cool stuff. Like, granted, you get a little teasers of it, but it just kind of felt like, oh, she has superpowers.
Yeah.
I will say though, with that sequence, my favorite part was when she's looking through like the memory book. And it's like all the pictures of like her sister and that guy that you see obviously at the beginning. Very disturbing. It really got under my skin in a really great way. And it was just like, that is a really great way to showcase someone who's gone through a lot of like that trauma and abuse. It was just like, ugh.
And one of my favorite scares too was them escaping, and they look back in the hallway, this like the underground hallway, and it shows like the old lady staring at them and her eyes are glowing. Then they keep running, and then they look back again, and she's like closer.
Oh,
that freaked me
God.
out.
Jeez.
But it has a lot of great stuff in it. I don't think this is perfect. I wasn't really expecting it to be perfect.
It's a debut feature, so obviously there's going to be things that are really great that obviously work, but there's also going to be things that are like not so good.
One of the things that overall I just applaud Chris for is, you crowdfund this thing, you get all this money. There are some aspects that I just, when you have all this money and stuff like that, especially with your first time directing a movie, there were some things that I just wasn't expecting he would go for, yet I was just definitely just appreciating that he went for them. Like, for instance, the CGI dogs and all that stuff, it was a miss, but
it's a risk.
I will say, if I was directing this thing or whatever, I would have chosen not to do that. But I am like, okay, at least he went for that, Same thing with the mockumentary stuff. Yeah, some of the extras don't really do a great job with acting. But he went for it, and he edited it fully together to feel cohesive. And there's just so many aspects that, again, like as a first-time filmmaker, I would expect someone to be more intimidated and play it really safe and not do a lot of that stuff. But yet he really goes for them. And especially in the last shot of this movie, seeing this demon thing have a hold of this lady, that's a great shot. And I was just like, oh, wow, he actually went for that. Like, that's kind of crazy.
It's kind of scary, too. It's like kind of disturbing when you really like think about it, honestly. One thing I was going to say was one of my favorite moments is Keith David, honestly.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
It's great. Granted, I wish he was in the movie a little bit more. Like Alan Tudyk and Nathan Fillion for me personally. Like anytime Keith David's in anything, I'm like, he makes the movie so much better.
It's so seeing him in such a short time he's in there really shows how some of these other actors weren't doing that great, because he's in there so brief, and he reads some lines that are maybe not the greatest, but
they're
he pulls it off, and you just start to see the holes in some of the other actors acting, and it's just like, all right, like this guy's on another level. Like, especially with that boyfriend husband, I'm just like, dude,
he sucked.
That
he
guy
was terrible. I did not like him
at all. Yeah, I was just like, anytime like he had a reaction to something,
or that scene where they're like in the hospital and he's like trying to like hold her hand. I'm like, dude, stop.
This just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I guess, did you kind of want to talk about that ending and everything? Because like, I guess for me, I do think, I don't know, like they tease it a little bit with the hospital, like, she sees the baby and everything. And I guess I can kind of see where she's coming from of like, some really disturbing stuff happened while she was down there. However, I just felt like it was a little bit rushed for me personally. I definitely felt like there could have been way more time with the baby and everything. And I definitely felt like there could have been so much more between like the two sisters' relationship. I definitely felt like the third act could have showcased that so much more for me personally.
That's true. I do feel like that ending worked for me in general, but yeah, there were some things that I maybe would do a little differently.
And also she dies like kind of really quickly. And then like once she dies, like the movie's over. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess. Yeah, sure.
It really is just like, oh, not the most satisfying ending. Like I said, it worked for me, but honestly, I would have rather them kind of rethink the third act. Yeah. Just maybe a little bit.
And I was kind of hoping, because I remember you talked about during the movie news, like Neon gave Chris Stuckmann more money for that third act. So I was like a little bit excited with that. And then I saw it. I was like, where did they put the money into with this? Because I'm not seeing it. But I don't know. That was just, I guess, my takeaway from the ending personally.
Overall, I felt like it was enjoyable. I felt like it hit parts that I didn't think it would hit. Like
it really.
Honestly, I wasn't thinking I was going to be too scared, but throughout most of it, I was a little unnerved, and I was like, okay, this is freaking me out a little bit. I'm getting kind of scared. Even like, and then not even to mention like him pulling off the found footage stuff so well.
Even the stuff with like the internet, I was like not expecting to work as well, because I remember he mentioned in an interview before I saw the movie that he was going to showcase the internet. So I'm glad he did his research with that, honestly.
And especially like, I mean, I will say some of the extras in the beginning did kind of fall flat for me.
Really? I felt like for me, it kind of worked just because I'm like, well, they're YouTubers. I mean, I'm not expecting like the best acting from them. So I'm like, it works.
But overall, I walked away enjoying most of it. It had good scares. It had good directing. Yeah, overall, I was just honestly shocked. I guess judging by the reaction based off everyone, I didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I did.
Okay.
So definitely by the end, I was like, honestly, that was pretty good. And I would say I would consider watching it again if it goes on streaming and things like that.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, as far as the first time effort goes, I'm glad he was ambitious as he was. He went for a lot of stuff that I wouldn't think most first-time directors would really go for. And mostly, I feel like his personal style, for me, what I get across the most is the blending of everything. The mockumentary stuff, the supernatural stuff.
The like cult stuff.
Most directors and things like that would probably find one element and stick to it. But you can just tell that he's a fan of all of it. So he wants to do his best to include as much as he can. And I felt like that's such a good personal stamp for him as a director.
Yeah. I mean, that makes for a unique filmmaker, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of the same way too also when I'm writing. So I completely understand.
Score-wise, I'm probably at like a 6.5 or a 7.
Nice.
Really walked away enjoying it. Surprised that I did. I would love to see more from him in the future, hopefully. I would say consider checking it out. I mean, if you have no personal attachment to Chris or whatever, no investment, I'd be very curious to see what you would think of this movie.
Yeah, honestly, I'm actually kind of interested to hear that perspective, outside perspective. But yeah, I mean, wow, this really did take me by surprise. He really stepped up his game from his short film, so I'm really happy he did. A lot of great scares throughout the film that really surprisingly were effective and worked for me. Like I said, liked some of the stuff with the sisters, but again, just wish it was a little bit more expanded upon and everything like that. Wish there was a little bit more of Keith David, and wish there was more of that prison sequence, because that prison sequence was probably my favorite. And I definitely felt like there could have been even more. Like you could have went even farther with the horror with it. Yeah, the blending of the genres, the blending of different mediums really took me by surprise. And I hope with the future film Chris Stuckmann makes, I definitely hope he can definitely like improve that a little bit more and balance them out in a better, more effective way for me personally. Yeah, and then like I said, just some of the acting is okay, not the best.
Some weird conveniences.
Yeah, I mean, it's bound to happen. Movie. Yeah.
One of the weird things, why did that lady keep the blood on her face for hours?
Oh,
Sorry, that just kind of bugged me.
She was just traumatized.
Or she was being controlled by the demon.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. God. But yeah, really good first 2 acts. Definitely wish the 3rd act was a lot better. Definitely felt like it was rushed. Definitely felt like it could have been a lot better, and it could have been a nice home run.
Yeah.
But yeah, for a debut, just really impressive all around, and I'm definitely excited to see what Chris Stuckmann does next, especially whether he goes in horror or whatever genre he does next. I'm really interested to see what he does. But yeah, score-wise for me, I would say I'm at a 6 out of 10 personally.
Nice.
Yeah. Might watch it again. I don't really know though, but I might give it another rewatch and see how I feel.
Nice.
But yeah. Good job, Chris Stuckmann.
Let us know what you guys think. We have some more reviews coming in the future.
All right. Yeah. Good day. Good night, mates.
See you on the next.